The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I'm Nato Agbayani and I'm streaming directly from Quezon City. Good evening. Welcome to our show, Para sa Bayan, here on the new channel. Good evening. You're still watching Para sa Bayan here on the new channel. So magandang gabi sa lahat ng ating viewers. Tonight we don't have any guests, but we will be having a recap of the last 10 episodes that we've had in the past. So first of all, we'd like to congratulate Vlogapalooza. I just came from there at City of Dreams. And kudos to Ace Gapus. Ace, I've known you for a long time, and you've really gone a long way. And congratulations! Thank you also to our hosts here on TNC, Coach Celia, and of course Coach Au, who joined us today at the Vlogapalooza. Ang saya-saya po. All the content creators were there, and even on this stormy and rainy evening and rainy day, it was jam-packed. So I think that's the future talaga of communication. So nano influencers, and people like us host here on TNC that create content for you. So anyway, as we start today, our recap, let's begin with maybe flashing the guests that we had for season 2. So in season 1, we had, of course, 3 hosts. Ako, si Edward Vigas from Cebu, and also Girly Amarillo from, here in Manila. It was previously sponsored by the Political Officers League of the Philippines. Now, we're producing Para sa Bayan as a TNC show. So, okay, let me tell you about Attorney Joselle Batapa Sige. She's the Undersecretary of the Department of Information and Communications and Technology. With Joselle, we discussed a lot about technology infrastructure, how government sees technology as an enabler, and like how the cities in the Philippines will become the next hubs of ICT. Joselle, as a personal friend, also comes from Bacolod, and she is a lawyer. She teaches law in Bacolod, and she's gone a long way from the ICT advocacy. She's a Towns awardee, and she was able to bring in a lot of jobs in the Visayas as a private person. So it was a good choice to have her become undersecretary under the ICT, because at the end of the day, we need real advocates who understand the perspectives of paano ba natin i-empower ang mga tao at the grassroots. Para sa Bayan is a show, it's a public affairs show, and we want to really, um, well, pangit naman sabihin, educate people, no? But part um, of PNC's mission and para sa Bayan's mission is really to give good content that's really Filipino, and also it enriches the lives of people so that at the end of the day they know a little more, they're given more knowledge. So here on TNC we have different shows. Here in Para sa Bayan, we try to give you um, possibilities, opportunities, and how government or policy or legislation can be made good use of for our people. At the end of the day po, ito ay para sa bayan. Ang bayan, of course, ay binubuo ng lahat ng tao, lahat ng mga mamamayan natin dito sa Pilipinas. No? So earlier, we had our barangay assembly, general assembly here in our village, in my barangay, and the DILG secretary discussed that it's really the frontliners who have kept this country, um, sabihin ba nating afloat. No, nung pandemic, it was really a lot of the barangay people, officials, even the tanons who were really, really risking their lives. No, I for one, uh, am not, of course, I'm not a hero. I'm just a plain public servant. But during that time, I also caught COVID as part of the frontline response. No, so all of these things, kanina, the time na nandito si Josel sa ating show, she was able to discuss how we're really transforming and transitioning into a more IT-enabled nation. Na-push tayo to that. Push tayo. Even, for example, you had to register via Google Sheets. No? Ang daming tools na nag-emerge. Tapos hindi ka pwedeng pumunta dito na walk-in, these things. Bagamat simple lang siya, na-familiarize at na-popularize yung mga IT tools. That even the older generation, not just the techies, not just the digital natives, natuto talaga on how to um, kumbaga, use the technology for the betterment of the people at the end of the day. So, ganun din. Kahit kami, going back sa barangay, no, sa barangay level, ganun din, natuto yung mga barangay officials natin, yung mga barangay staff and crew, and mga tanod, no, sa technology because it had to be used. It had to be used na force tayo during the COVID. So, of course, thank you kay Yusek Josel. No? We know you have gone a long way and we really thank you for giving us all that information, the best practices in terms of ICT in e-governance. Then also in this show, maybe we can flash the next one. We invited Jason De La Rosa. Jason De La Rosa is, ano ba natin masasabi? He's a perennial entrepreneur and also he's an author. And of course, he's the main founder of Bounce Back Philippines. If you're not familiar with Bounce Back Philippines, this is an aggregation of micro, small, and medium enterprises that bonded together during the pandemic. Online lang to. Nakapag-mobilize tayo ng so many people for donations for frontliners. In fact, I think Bounce Back PH, me as co-founder also, sila RJ Ledesma, sila Sam Jacoba, sila Jelix Mercadero. These people were able to mobilize about 1 billion pesos worth of donations. And at its peak, Bounce Back PH is, I think, reached a membership of about 1 million people. And well, we know for a fact that I think itong November 25, Bounce Back PH will have a parang reunion or a global meetup. This is going to happen at the Maharlika Pilipinas Hotel in Tagaytay. So everyone's invited to go there, especially the micro, small, and medium enterprises. We have lots of speakers. There will be games. There will be new technology that will be introduced. There will be a lot of brands that's also joining us. Now, let me go back to the discussion of Jason. In the discussion of Jason, they have a company, it's called Kita PH. Ang nangyayari kasi, for example, there was a survey done in Naga of the top 10 uh, agricultural producers versus the top 10 um, people who produce farm products. So, ano nangyari? Yung top 10 na gustong i-process ng mga manufacturers, wala dun sa top 10 na tinatanim ng mga farmers. And also, you know, naririnig natin yung mga balita na yung mga kamatis, tinapon na lang, nasayang. Because at the end of the day, there's no supply chain or value chain connection. Minsan nagpo-produce yung mga tao, sobra-sobra, hindi naman need ng market. And minsan yung market, or minsan yung manufacturers or end users, hindi alam kung saan kukunin yung source. So we need technology, no? We need to real-time data para ang agrikultura natin is really magkaroon ng mahusay na value chain. Nothing is wasted and what is produced is what is needed. No? So Kita PH is a agricultural technology company. What they do is they set up mga bagsakan where gulay or vegetables, fresh vegetables from Baguio, and now I think Nueva Ecija also are produced. So, from the production, Kita PH gets pre-orders or vegetables from communities they call bagsakans or Kita PH hubs. No? And in the process, na-connect yung need versus the production. So the farmers get a fair price. It's not hindi sila tinawaran o hindi sila na shortchange. At the same time, the consumers get it at the time they need it at the price that's not so high because alam nyo, hindi naman lingid sa kaalaman ng bawat isa, no? For example, yung mga garlic and onions, no? Minsan hino-hoard because they're stored a lot longer. And when they're hoarded, pag off-season, di ba, tinataas yung presyo. So, you know what happens. I remember a story that sinabi nila Europe in winter does not produce yung mga fruits. So what Israel did, in the deserts, they created mga greenhouses where they produce the fruits. And oranges, for example, are exported to European countries where there is winter from Israel. And of course, the prices are higher. Diba? Kasi, or maybe just, so they make a profit because there's a need. And it's a clear supply chain na nakikita natin. So here, sila Jason, together with the people in Kita PH, they're trying to create win-win-win situations. Win situation for the farmers. Win situation for the hub owners, Kita PH hubs, where, of course, they get a lower price, they get a relatively good margin, and yet the consumers don't get overpriced goods. So at the end of the day, it's really a win-win-win situation. There's an app that supports it. There's an IT back end at the back of it, and that enables the entire system. And sabi ko nga kay Jason, if, for example, we're able to do that in so many municipalities or in so many provinces, then we would have solved a lot or maybe 50% of the problems in agriculture. Of course, iba pa yung inputs, iba pa yung irrigation, iba yung land, types of land, etc. So, ang laki nung masosolve nito if we're only able to create shall we say, a resilient and relevant supply chain for vegetables. No? Gulay pa lang po yun. Ultimately, I think sila Jason wants to have that pati yung mga meat products and other products. So at the end of the day, we really need to see what we can do to help the farmers at the same time, help the consumer. And then government, as a policy, can create policies or legislation or put their budgets where it really will create a lot more value. Sabi ko nga, dito sa para sa bayan, our idea is nation building. So we invite people who understand what's happening in a particular sector or particular segment. So, okay. So after Jason, we had another guest, um, si Rowan Ontivero. Well, of course, he was a colleague. Mas boss lang siya ng konti in one of the premier telcos here in the Philippines where I was also a part of, and we were together in the same company. But Rowan is also a marketing trainer, so he's part of the Josiah Goss group, the Mansmith group. No, so he is the marketing trainer there, senior trainer yata. I think not because he's a senior citizen, but because his experience spans over 30 years in terms of marketing, and now he is into technology. So he is with a company called Kinetics Marketing and Sales. So what they do is they integrate the different technologies that can be used, no, by communities or institutions or even government. So for example, yung mga smart city. Let me tell you about smart city and resources. No? So what happens is in a city or in a big city like Metro Manila, a lot of course, there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of cars. Ngayon, wala pa yung apprehensions na ano, no? I think pinatigil yung apprehensions by contactless apprehensions, no? So, in the economy of a city or a highly urbanized city, ang daming forces at play. So, for example, there's traffic. If there is traffic, you consume more gas, you get higher stress, and then yung mga dapat umaandar sa ekonomiya or sa economy, it's not happening because of the traffic. If the truck has to arrive at a certain place for a delivery, it doesn't happen. That's why nag-flourish nga yung ating mga, well, the angkases of this world, the grabs of this world. Nag-progress yan because they're in a motorcycle, and of course, the traffic is not as how do you call it? Hindi ganun kabigat, no, for them. Like nakakasingit-singit sila. But at the end of the day, when we have traffic, we lose a lot of resources in terms of money, gas, and that alone, I think there was a study before that in a day, 3.5 billion is lost just because of the traffic. Nung COVID, wala masyadong traffic, di ba? But now there's so much traffic. Again, it's back. It's good for the economy, but it's also pain in the neck. So yan po, pag smart city, it's able to um, create or view the city as a whole. Meron tayong episode where sinasabi natin na it has to be the whole of country approach, no? Or it has to be a whole of, if for example you're the mayor of Quezon City or Mayor Joy, kailangan yung buong city nakikita mo paano bang ginagamit ang resources, anong times ba medyo mabigat ang traffic. And with smart cities, you can actually predict this, no? Meron predictive. You see the pattern na on a Wednesday, ganito ang pattern, ganyan. So this data is inputted into the system, no? Where before wala pa masyadong AI, but now there's AI and machine learning, and the machines learn how to solve the problem. And this is the technology that's available with now, no, no. And then that's the technology Rowan explained. Also about education. No? In education, you can actually, I remember in 2001 we started the online enrollment system. It was a pioneering effort, no, but it wasn't yet integrated with the entire school system. Now, if for example, DepEd is able to adapt, no, or adopt a system like this, no, for schools, yung mga learning management system, magkakabit-kabit yan with the attendance, with the grading system, with the enrollment, even if kasama sa payment, uh, you know, we're able to see the performances of students, and the parents are able to guide their students, no, and then even the school administration is able to see the problems within those things, no, within the community. So after Rowan, we had another guest, no? Yeah. So after Rowan, we discussed marketing. How does the Philippine economy become revived in terms of through marketing advocacies? No, we had, of course, Mayet Kadungog, the president of the Philippine Marketing Association, a friend of ours, and of course, a colleague in the Philippine Marketing Association. So, lahat ng brands, for example, lahat ng mga products na gusto nating uh, or programs, no, of government, for example, bakuna or what, all of these things need marketing. No? Sa government, we used to call it social marketing. Now, social marketing is a different term. No? When you say social marketing now, uh, it's different. It's really social media marketing. But during my stint with the government in the early 90s, social marketing was also marketing government programs like mga bakuna or early childhood intervention, no, for their health needs, etc. So all of these things, all everything has to be communicated. There are marketing advocacies everywhere, and this was partly what Maya discussed, no. In the Philippine Marketing Association, kasi it's different organizations. So there's people in government, there's a lot of people with the brands, and also the heads of marketing, the vice presidents for marketing are all there. So it's really now, marketing is transforming. So like kanina, we were in the event ng Lagapalooza. A few years back, I think that was 2017, I had a chance to collaborate with Ace Gapus of Blogapalooza. And at that time, the social media platforms were not as many and were not as pervasive. And the term nano influencer or influencers, wala pa masyado. So the main influencers were still traditional media and partly social media. But today, we have come to that point where um, if we are to build the nation, no, we need to really build on platforms that are current, relevant, and those that our young people are very active at. So hopefully, in the last two episodes of this season, we'll be able to invite somebody from the Secretary General of a political party so we can discuss how they have campaigned and how campaigning will be probably done in the next few years. No? And then hopefully we will have a, a Gen X TikToker. Uh, Quite famous na nowadays. I can't reveal yet, but of course, hopefully she will be able to join us and also discuss the platform and how we can market our brands, we can market our programs, especially in terms of nation building. So yan, kasama yan. And of course, Mayet discussed that quite well in that episode, in episode 17. So after Mayet, we have another, nako, eto legend to. So a former activist, in fact, a former rebel. He was with the National Democratic Front. He was arrested during the Marcos regime of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. And he used to be an ex-priest. So ano siya, ex-activist, ex-priest daw, and another ex. I forgot the other ex. But of course, it's our idol, Ed De La Torre, no? Or dating tinatawag na Father Ed De La Torre. He was with TESDA, and he led the Tech Talk program of government during the time of President Era. And he's also now with the Philippine Rural Reconstruction as the president and vice chairperson. PRRM has been there or the Philippine Rural Reconstruction Movement has been there to help reconstruct the agricultural sector. And since I think for 56 years now or even more. So PRRM is an aggregation of people in the development work or NGO sector, and it's really a tough. He Ed discussed a lot about agriculture and how we can rebuild the countryside, not just not just by inputs or better farming. Hindi. Ang sinabi niya sa atin, let's follow the models, the best practices of the world na hindi lang simpleng farm inputs, agricultural extension. Pag sinabi mo agricultural extension na ngayon, this has to be holistic. Even IT infrastructure should be involved, even farm to market roads, and even the skills that you need for people to retool. No? Of course, parang wala nang sinasabi natin, parang the younger people parang nagsashy away na from agriculture, and maybe because they don't find it lucrative, maybe because they have not seen agricultural technology, or maybe because there are other, alam mo, pag sa probinsya, it's very common. I have friends from Bulacan, and parang ang mga courses doon, no, pag babae gusto mag-nurse, pag lalaki gusto mag-police, or pag babae gusto mag-teacher. So, ganun, ano. I mean, the supply and demand in the rural sector for jobs must also be, shall we say, become more relevant. Otherwise, we will be stuck in that perception. Of course, because teachers are well respected, nurses are of course, they can earn very well when they go abroad, or even, well, it's a very sabi nga nila, pag nagmahal ka ng nurse, you're in a healthy relationship daw. So, yung mga ganun ba? Para bang, and then police, no? Because right now, police, bumbero, or even those in the military earn quite competitive, no? Quite competitively, and that's good in a way, because when I started with government talaga, napakaliit ng sweldo. Now, government has also come a long way, and here in Para sa Bayan, we want to support that. So, of course, we'd like to thank all our guests, no? But now, okay, thank you. We can hide Ed now, Ed, thank you so much. So, to all our guests, we really appreciate how you have contributed to Para sa Bayan. And not just Para sa Bayan, on your own, you have contributed to the country as, sabi ko nga, living legends, parang heroes. No? In a way, you are heroes, living heroes of this country. And that's not to say that's not bola or what, but I know for a fact, I've seen you people in action, and I know you're really committed people to this country. And that's what our country needs, no? Committed people. Siguro, if we had more time here on TNC, if we had so many more episodes, we can bring you in. There's so many ordinary people helping out there. And yun po ang gusto natin mangyari sa Para sa Bayan. Ma-inspire ang mga tao, matutunan nila mga profiles ng ating iba't ibang mga guests. And then, they can start on their own small projects or community projects. No? Right now, we have a group called Primo, and this group is starting small projects in the localities. And, if you multiply these small projects in your localities, napakilaki po ng impact niyan. Sabi nga nila, you can create ripples. Yung ripples po kasi, pag dumami ng dumami, nagiging waves, no? So, you want to do waves of helping other people, no? Helping people in this country particularly. No? And hopefully, um, when we share this, what's in our heart, people will really um, take imbibe it, and yeah, have those values of being nationalistic, and of course God fearing. Yun ang mahalaga. So anyway, after this break, we will feature another five of episodes that we had in the past, and we will recap it for you. And sa lahat ng ating regular viewers, we're so thankful that you're here. But right now, we'll go right into a short break, and TNC para sa bayan will be back. Thank you.
Juan Lu and his puppets face to face with special guests Makata Tawanan, Jess Box, and the Lunaria Marionette Show.
Salita. Alam mo, Tito Ando, kung wala ako, nagsasalita ka mag-isa. Kung wala ako, wala kang masusuot. Kung wala ako, wala kang nakakain.
November 13, Sunday, 7 p.m. at the La Verdad Auditorium in Apalit, Pampanga. Buy your tickets now and see you soon. Face to face.
You're still watching Para sa Bayan here on the new channel. So don't forget to watch all our other shows. All right? So the new channel is an online alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on the screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our channel is a responsible global 24/7 platform that showcases Filipino talent, even foreign talent, meron din. Global influencers, Ayan. Cultural intelligence and ingenuity. You can watch live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. For sponsorships, syempre, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life-changing shows because we make them specially for you. Yun, no? So, ayan. Ang ganda, no? Imagine mo yung 5 people that we interviewed in the first part of this season. They really gave us as a perspective, no? Yung kanilang mga opinions about what's happening in the country and how people can really make the change, no? So, uh, in the second part, no, of our second segment of our recap, so, we'll introduce to you itong mga tumulong sa atin dito sa show as our guest. The next one, of course, one of our guests is, ayan, surprise, my cousin, Dr. Iggy Agbayani. He's what you call an activist, no? An activist doctor. He's a orthopedic surgeon by profession. But recently, itong COVID, we realized that there's so much there's so many issues and there's so many things that we can do better with the COVID response. And sinasabi natin na Dr. Iggy Agbayani or Benigno Agbayani is a root cause doctor. No? He is also the past president of the Concerned Doctors and Citizens of the Philippines. Yeah. During the show, he made me realize, no, for example, maraming ginagastusan yung gobyerno or even the private sector during the COVID-19. One realization is the fact that a lot of people were dying. A lot of people died. Ako, as a person, I think 10 close friends of mine who got COVID also passed away, because of the condition. Now, Dr. Ige was saying a lot of the people who have died are also have comorbidities. No? Kung for example, we were able to um, uh, create a campaign na, o teka, wag muna tayo mag-asukal because sugar is really, this is the main issue with diabetics, whether it's type 1 or type 2. Kung merong ganong education, no, prevention, no? O teka, wag muna tayo masyadong mag-asukal. You limit your sugar intake to this much. Marami pong hindi magkaka-diabetes. Marami pong hindi lalala ang sakit because of diabetes. At marami pong hindi magda-dialysis. Yan. Isa yun. Number 2, smoking. Ang nangyayari po sa smoking, di ba, tinataas yung sin taxes. So, what happens is, dati, ang Yossi, nung naninigarisyo pa tayo, mga 5 piso. Ngayon, 10 piso na ang isang stick. So, that impacts, sa totoo lang, on the poor. So, they try to quit smoking. And yet, the money that's collected from the sin taxes, yan din po yung ginagamit para gamutin yung mga tao na nakakasakit. So why not create a campaign to really just, hey people, quit smoking. It's really bad for you. Ganun lang, kasimple. And then, wag nyo na i-tax. Totally quit nyo na. Wag na tayo mag-yossi. Kasi it's really, there's, kahit ilagay mo pa sa pack na ganito, maraming magkakasakit ka, mababaog ka, and still, people still smoke. No? But if we're really from young children to teenagers, we tell them, we teach them the ill effects of smoking, marami pong hindi rin magkakasakit, hindi magkakalankanser, at hindi rin mamamatay sa COVID. Number 3, I can still remember very well yung sinabi ni Doc Iggy, no? Yung pagpapaaraw at exercise. That's vitamin D, and a lot of immunity is nakukuha from vitamin D. And for those people who are already immunocompromised, exercise is really very good. So parang ganito, simple lang po. What Doc Iggy was saying is, why don't we put the resources of government in the right frame prevent all these diseases, no? And, at the end of the day, bakit pa tayo mag-spend sa mga dialysis? Hindi na natin kailangan kasi less people will have diabetes, less people will be having other problems. Kung ginagayosi, less people will die. In short, napakaliit ng with small things or with putting our money or government's money or people's money in the right priorities on health, malaki po ang magagawa. And of course, we all know that medicine is also a business. There are hospitals, there are pharmaceutical companies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, people's lives really is really what matters. No? Yun po, in nation building, we must take care of our people. And I think Dr. Iggy cited certain countries na talagang in some places, no, talagang totally na-avoid na nila mag-smoke or totally natuturuan na yung mga tao ng preventive healthcare. So, after Iggy, we had another guest. Of course, he used to be the president of the Philippine Marketing Program. Now he's Dean Henry Tenederos. He's the Dean of the Life Skills Program at St. Clair College. And he's also the president of One Shared World Philippines. No? Si Dean Henry, he's my idol. He's also one of my mentors in the Philippine Marketing Association when I was still very active, no? And with the PMA. So he was saying na I was a dropout. Hindi ako masyado interesado mag-aral. Then eventually, I was able to get life skills and then I continued on in studying. So, minsan nakafocus kasi sa academics, which is at the end of the day, there are alternative ways, no? Siguro because it is so structured. Ito yung proseso sa school, you enroll, you do this, you do that, and then there's prescribed din naman ng DepEd, for example, in the primary and secondary schools, yung mga subject matter, no? But of course, merong multiple intelligences, and we know that for a fact. Some people are good in sports, some people are good in math, some people are good in geography or spatial reasoning, some are there's EQ, there's emotional quotient, matataas, they can relate to people. Meron namang matatalino, high IQ, but they can't seem to relate to people or communicate what they feel. That's why we have yung mga cases where people are, ang tawag dito, they're very intelligent, but they're not so successful. Of course, success is a relative term. No? It's not necessarily just money, but of course, how the world perceives them na parang, talino ka naman, bakit hindi ka successful? Bakit mas malaki pakita ko sa iyo? Siguro mas maganda diskarte ko. Alam mo, Pilipino, they talk about diskarte. But all these things, all these intelligences, work in different ways. And I think that's the direction where our kids should go, not just simply academics. Of course, academics are important. At the end of the day, these are the product of thousands of years of human civilization, mathematics, science, even the languages. No? Mahalaga yan. But at the end of the day, some people may be built differently. So, importante rin may tech book. No? Importante rin, some are into culinary arts because they excel there. Some are into other things. So, it's really how you're built. In fact, I mentioned that one of my friends owns forest schools, no? And here they teach children not to be restricted in an environment. They go to the forest and experience it. Because at the end of the day, experience is the best teacher. That's why you have what you call experiential learning or structured learning experiences in OD or in training, for you to experience the learning in SLEs or structured learning experience. So we got Dean Henry because it was October, and of course it was National Teachers Month. After After Dean Henry Tenedero, we had another educator. Um, of course, everybody knows he's an educator and an entrepreneur. No? Si Dr. Carl Balita. So Carl Balita, of course, is also a friend, and he owns Carl Balita Review Center. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, umabot na sa kalahating milyong tao, including my own daughter, na nag-review sa Carl Balita Review Center. They have about 125 review centers. But what was Dr. Carl emphasizing? At the end of the day, education or building educators, kasi ang topic natin dyan was building educators. Because of course, they go to Carl Balita Review Center and then they teach. No? They take the and then they teach. So yun yung process. But somehow it's really important that we have uh, we build educators who have values, who understand what they're supposed to do in terms of being second parents, no? And also taking good note of how are kids built, how are the learners built, no? Of course they're built differently, and then sabi nga niya, napakaganda kasi this was the first time I interviewed him na long version. Usually maiksi lang yung mga conversation namin ni Dr. Carl Balita. But for the first time, I got an insight into his mind, no? On how he thinks, how he sees all these people going through the review center. And di ba, meron na naging top-notchers na blind, naging top-notchers na persons with disabilities or, uh, different type of people. And, at the end of the day, we really need people who can learn well and teach well, and people with a good heart. Kasi alam mo, you can be intelligent, but there is darkness in your heart, and you will pass that on to your students or to your learners. So teachers or educators really need to be positive. Um, we are proud, siguro, in our family. There are a lot of educators, and even myself, I was able to teach uh, for a very short stint an institution, and it's really something you can enjoy and you can be proud of, because when people learn, napakasarap sa feeling, no? That's why na-discuss nga namin yung mga teachers that we cannot forget or we will never forget, because they are also part of us. So yun, Dr. Carl Balita, thank you. After Dr. Carl Balita, we had another guest. So we shifted naman from education into another topic, which is green transport for a modern Philippines. We had as our guest si Yuri, no? Sarmiento. He was the president. He's the president of Evolve Electric Vehicles. So Yuri is one of the, shall we say, largest operators of MPUVs, yung modern public utility vehicles. So he runs the loop here, yung Beep Jeep, and then the Makati loop, and then several others. No? And then he also is into electric vehicles. Why is it important that we shift to, or the country starts to shift to green vehicles or green transport? One, of course, is the emissions. Ito ay batas na. There's a law that says, tama na yung yung mga jeeps or public transport has to be Euro 4. In fact, meron ng Euro 5, no? Less emissions, so the particulate matter doesn't go to the environment and nai-inhale natin, and people die because of it. People get lung cancer, people get different types of diseases, no? Also, green transport saves on energy resources. We have been for 100 or so years dependent on petrol fuel, crude oil, diesel, and this has really affected the entire world. And of course, sabi nga nila, yung greenhouse gases, no, that have been created. And there's so much more that we can do with green transport. It's already a law. There's a law, yung EVIDA law, that there has to be in all cities and municipalities green routes. Ano ba yung green route? Just sa green route na yun, walang ibang dadaan dyan, kundi mga green vehicles. Sabihin, if we have more, there's about 1,500 municipalities, about almost 100 something, 150, 30, 40 cities. Then there are 81 provinces. So imagine mo in all those areas there will be green routes. No? How good would that be for our people? No? The health of our people, the health of the earth, and yeah. So Yuri is in the forefront of all that. Also helping government legislate and create policy. No? So after Yuri, we had another guest. Tama ba? I think we had another guest after Yuri. Yeah, of course. Walang iba kundi si Attorney Roberto Bobby Leiretana. He's the Deputy Administrator for Administration of the Land Registration Authority. Ito, napakaganda ng discussion ni Bobby. No? He was a classmate in college in UST. He's a fellow Tomasian, although he took his law school in Ateneo as a college scholar. And in fact, even in college, he was a working student. So uh, from the province, he did well here in college. He did well in law school, and ultimately he became the part of the Land Registration Authority, which is the primary agency of government that documents all the lands. No? In during this discussion, we talked about land optimization. Ano ba daw yung land optimization? How does it help the country move forward in terms of, creating opportunities for people, making the economy grow? No, napakaraming possibilities. So, one basic, one basic principle he said was tenure, yung tenurial or ownership of the land. And when you own the land, diba, for example, you can mortgage the land to a bank. When you mortgage the land to a bank, you can owe money and put that as input to your land. In that land, you can put up a building, you can make a commercial space if it's allowed in that zone. And then ultimately, yung income from that, it will help the economy grow. And not just one person does this. Of course, a lot of property owners do this. For example, our own property here in Quezon City, um, we our parents bought the land. Eventually, we were able to have the estate, and then of course, pinaparent out natin, and that creates value, that creates money for the economy, and of course, we use that money and elsewhere. So, yun po. Um, there were 10 guests in the last in the last season. We also had many guests during the first season. That was also a very interesting season. No? But what do we want to happen here? No? In the last two seasons, in the last two episodes of Para sa Bayan, we will have somebody from a political background, and then another one from the NGO background, but is also now entirely exploring a new platform. So here on TNC, we try to, sabi nga, explore the new you. So a lot of our hosts come from different backgrounds. Some are coaches, some people are mentors, some people are in HR, some people are in mental health, some people are in the financial services. Us here in Para sa Bayan, really our intention in producing this show together with the TNC is really to show a wider audience of a way to move forward for this country. Itong TNC was born, like Bounce Back was born in the COVID era. And, in the COVID era, we learned a lot of things. And learning a lot of things from COVID era, we now are able to jumpstart, reboot, or restart all our lives. No? Itong COVID-19 gave us a perspective na hindi pala forever yung kita. No? For example, maghahanap buhay ako. Tuloy-tuloy lang hanap buhay ko hanggang mag-retire ako, blah, blah, blah. For businesses, for example, in tourism, kung build ako ng hotel na to, ito ang kita niya, tutuloy-tuloy ito. Hindi pala gano'n. Bibili ako ng mga aeroplano, magtatayo ako ng airline, araw-araw may flights. Hindi pala gano'n. Meron mga na-cancel na flights, etc. Yung mga anak ko mag-aaral dito sa school na to, tapos tuloy-tuloy sila. Meron silang second parent doon. For a while, wala sila sa akin, nandun sila sa mga teachers nila. Hindi pala gano'n. Yung pala, mag-homeschool tayo, yung pala, mag-online school tayo, yung pala, mag-work from home tayo. And this has really affected everything, everything. The way we think, and also it has changed the world dramatically and even the country dramatically. So here on Para sa Bayan, we want to create a venue where you can learn from people, from profiles of people who are serving this country, whether they are in government or whether they are outside of government. It's the love of country that unites these people, and believe you me, I've seen these people at work and I've seen how they have contributed so much to this country. Especially our idols, no, mga lodi natin dito sa naging guest natin. And that's why we have them here sa Para sa Bayan to have as guests. Hopefully, if we have a third season, we will um, invite more and create more interaction. Maybe we will do live shows amongst the people, or maybe we will do Fora Live for different audiences and in different venues. Ito mga wish list natin as a host. And of course, as TNC, we want to make everything more interesting for everyone. So hopefully, please stay with us, watch TNC, watch all the other TNC shows. This is the first time we're doing a recap for Para sa Bayan, and we know for a fact that those of you who loyally watch this show have learned much, and ako as a host, it has enriched my experience as a host. Of course, it has also taught me a lot of things coming from the mouth, kumbaga from the horse's mouth. People like Father Ed De La Torre, yan, sila Bobby, Leiretana, sila Yuri, sila Mayet, si Dr. Carl Balita, everybody. No? Siguro what we can say is thank you for enriching the show, for enriching TNC's content. And at the end of the day, mga kasama, pwede nating balikan ito, and you can watch the shows and you can watch them, and hopefully people who are interested to help us out here, you can become sponsors for Para sa Bayan or for TNC as a whole, and to help us continue with the shows. Napakalaking impact po nagagawa natin somehow to many audiences, and we've seen it. There are times that we have had about 1,000 views for one show. So ang dami pong natututo. And maybe if you want to be part of Para sa Bayan, you can DM us or you can email us here at the TNC to really fulfill the dreams of the show. Gusto natin makatulong, makapagturo sa iba't ibang audiences, and I know you can be part of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, gusto lang namin magpasalamat for watching our shows. And don't worry, this is not the end. We still have 2 more episodes and hopefully another season of Para sa Bayan. This is the public affairs show of the new channel. We hope to see you next Saturday and the Saturday after that to watch our guests. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you for watching Para sa Bayan Season 2. Tuloy-tuloy po tayo sa pagsilbi sa bayan. Tulungan niyo po kami, samahan niyo po kami, magbayanihan tayo. At hopefully, marami pa po tayong shows and even more interesting platforms po ang dadalhin sa inyo ng TNC. So on behalf of the new channel, on behalf of Para sa Bayan, mga co-hosts ko rin ng Season 1, thank you for watching Para sa Bayan. Good night and God bless everyone. Bye. See you next Saturday. you.